From IRL Art, and today I'm going to go through how to set up a snapshot NFT enabled governance channel. So basically this is what it looks like once it is set up. I set up IRL DAO, and here's a proposal we most recently voted on. And we have 6 voters. They all have one IRL NFT, and basically we'll get into that later, but what I would suggest doing first is really getting an ENS name, which you'll want to resolve to a Gnosis Safe. So it's just a recommendation. You don't have to do this part, but I'm going to go through it just for people who are interested. So I'm going to get IRL Metaverse .eth. Basically, you can type in anything here, and some may be available, some may not, and you'll just want to find a name, and basically this will be your wallet address now, which is really cool. So you can basically, type in, so for instance, if I want to send a little bit of money to I'll do yuletech.eth as an example. See, it'll just recognize his address there and make it really easy so that I don't have to copy and paste this. I can just look him up by name. So that's the benefit of an ENS name. And so I'm going to get my hardware wallet logged in now, so give me a second. I also really recommend hardware wallets for anybody trying to launch a DAO. It's certainly important to try and keep your assets more safe than a hot wallet. So thankfully gas is really cheap right now, so I'm going to confirm my request to register. Wait for that to go through, and you can always check your activity on your MetaMask to see that, basically your it's pending. I just confirmed it on my wallet. That was what I needed to do. And basically now, once that confirms, it'll basically check to see something about if someone else has tried to register the name, and then we'll complete the registration. So we just gotta, did it work? Okay, so wait for 1 minute, so bear with me here. And while this is happening, basically you want to do this first. So we're really going in order so that once you have your Gnosis set up, you have to, it's kind of an extra step to verify the transactions. So you definitely want to kind of get this over with before doing it through your Gnosis. So versus setting up your Gnosis first and then resolving the name. But yeah, so hopefully we get IRL Metaverse.eth. That's a pretty cool name. And alright, should be close here. And so basically so far we've spent about $6.50 in ETH. So I'll keep track of how much we spend so we can get a real sense of how much this cost. And this part costs about $55, but it's registering it for a year. That's the main cost, really. The gas isn't even that expensive. It's really just this registration fee. So anywho, gonna confirm that. accept it on my hardware wallet, and we should be good to go. And for people who already have an ENS name, you can just skip this part. All right, cool. So then you would want to go to manage name, and we'll use this here in a second. So then now you want to go to gnosis.io and go to safe. Basically what a gnosis is a way for multiple people to manage one set of assets. We'll go to open app, and what's cool about it is, you know, essentially there is no seed phrases, so they're very safe. And I could run through some transactions, but what I want to do is run through how to launch a new account, which of course now, because I have one already, it's going to be a little weird here. Safe zone on Ethereum. And anyway, add existing safe. No, that's not what we want. So, safe website. Here we go. So there it is. So you want to go to Gnosis Safe, just click that and create new safe. And so then continue, and I will call this one IRL Metaverse Safe, which I doubt I'll use this, but it's just for the IRL dot ETH, sure. So you can assign basically the owner address, and then you can add other owners. So this will be important if you want multiple signers. And you know, I think it's good to start with just one person and then get familiar with it, and then add on your very most trusted people. You definitely don't want to just open this up to anybody. Really make sure that you know these people, and because how you set it up, so see it says any transaction requires the confirmation of. So see we add another owner, you could say it requires 2 out of 2 owners, but if it's only set as 1, the person that you would add as this other owner could move assets out without you. So if you do add another person, at least make it to where 2 out of 2 owners have to sign it, so you have to sign the transaction too before something's moved out of this safe. And so anyway, I'm just gonna trash that and just do 1 for now, but that's a little overview of kind of how to add another owner, how to set, you know, how many signatures you will require for sending a transaction. So we want to create, and basically, this is $81, so I may not do this. So far we spent about 60 plus 80 would be about $140. So I'm probably not going to launch this just to save myself some money. But basically, you know, you'll submit the transaction, validate it, deploy it. And really the other steps that I would really make sure of is just to test a transaction in and out and get comfortable with that. So, you know, you want to make sure that it sends in, you know, so from your main MetaMask, send some money into the address that is created with the Gnosis Safe, and then send some money back out, right? So just make sure those are fully cleared before sending major assets in, just so you know that you've set it up correctly and that it's working properly. So for use of for the use of this, I'm just going to go back to here. So say it's set up, right? You know, so you want to basically receive money in. This is now, well, that's, yes. So this is the address you would send money. Sorry, it's a little weird because it's similar to my address. So anywho, yep, this is the address you would, you know, send money into or send assets into. But like it says, you know, ETH only assets. So, you know, you can set up Gnosis Safes on other chains, but, you know, make sure, similar to Coinbase, you know, there's just, you want to be careful about only sending in the assets that are compatible with that network that you set it up on and not others. And so basically, you know, this is set up now. And then really actually the next step would be, so I'll show you my OpenC, and what I've done here is I created this IRL DAO voter NFT. And I did these on Polygon, which was free, which is super cool. So, I mean, so far we've seen, you know, about $140 that you need to basically get your ENS and get your Gnosis Safe set up. But creating the NFTs and sending them to whoever you're wanting is free, which is super cool. So basically, you know, on OpenC, you would just want to, you know, go to create. Oop, gotta log back in to my hardware wallet, sorry. And so now you're logged back in, sign. So you go to create, and basically, boop, 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 boop. Create new item. So, you know, I just made that quick IRL DAO voter. They, you know, took my logo, added DAO voter in Photoshop. Super easy. Added that JPEG there, called it IRL DAO voter. Description saying that, you know, this NFT gives you rights to vote in our DAO. And basically then you want to come down here and go to Polygon and then just select the supply. So, you know, I did 14 just to start, and yeah, and then you'll create, it's free. And then for this use, I'm not going to create another NFT, but I'll just go back to this one. So this is the one, you know, we have 14 total, 8 owners. I own 1. So I have 1 vote in my DAO, same as everyone else right now, because we're kind of still experimenting with, you know, how we want to weight, how we want to distribute NFTs. And you'll actually see our first vote up was, you know, should we allocate DAO voter NFTs to all 8 builders? Because we have a grant live right now that, you know, basically I want to give voter NFTs to all of the people who received the grant. And, you know, some people voted no because they felt like, well, there's only 6 of us on the team and there's 8 builders. I think that could, you know, maybe be problematic in the future, in the sense that the builders could form a coup and overthrow us or something. So it kind of didn't receive like all support or not, so still kind of up in the air, and I think we'll put another vote up later on or something. So that one didn't really receive, you know, enough votes one way or the other. It's kind of a toss up or something. So with this one, everyone approved yes. So this went through, and, you know, but anywho, just going over stuff. But basically to, you know, launch a snapshot, you're going to want to go to connect your wallet, but I'm trying to actually figure out where that is. Should be something that says like launch space. Oh, there we go. So that little arrow right at the bottom, create space. So, you know, oops, which I can do this, so, so see, it has my IRL metaverse in here, so, you know, it'll automatically, when your wallet's connected, just show the address. Oh yeah, and that's the point. So you want to basically, so in your Gnosis Safe, right, you know, receive, you've got this address, you can copy it, and then you're going to want to basically, you know, go to set the resolver, and you're going to want to enter that address in and click save, which this one's already probably resolved or something, so it's not letting me, but that's how you do that. So that will resolve it, and or maybe it's here, I don't know. Oh, that's why it is. Okay, no, sorry, it copied over this part, you don't need that. So save, boom. And I think that's a gas fee too, so maybe, you know, another $6 or something. So, you know, still under $200 so far, but basically you'll set that, and then, you know, when you're creating a space, you click this, set space controller address on ENS. So that's what, you know, you want that same address, right? So you want your Gnosis Safe, or you can do your address. I chose to do my Gnosis Safe just because I want to like play around with more integrations in the future. There's a cool way to basically make it to where if a proposal is passed and voted yes, you can basically automate, you know, that funds get sent to the approved, you know, grantee or recipient. And so, you know, I did my Gnosis Safe here, and basically I guess I think I'll just do it, and then, you know, I'll just oh gosh, well, there is a gas fee there, so it's a little more expensive than I remembered, but maybe a little over 200, 210 now. Anyway, I'm not going to do this. You now know that's how you create a space. I'm not going to set up another one, try to avoid some of these gas fees. But what I'll show you is once you've created it, you know, you're basically going to go into your settings and, you know, put your name, your about, you know, the network. So if you do a Polygon, which is this, that's what this, you know, video is about, is how to do Polygon NFTs with it. So, but lots of other stuff covered. So Polygon mainnet, so it'll register those Polygon NFTs from OpenC. You can choose some categories. You can put your symbols. So if you remember when, you know, I showed the voters, it said 1 IRL. So 1 IRL, you can link up some stuff. And custom domain, that's pretty cool. There's a kind of a process there. You don't have to do it, but anyway, you add your admin, which, so that's I did my Gnosis Safe as the address that I launched it from, or set as the controller, and then the admin is my personal wallet. And then you want to do strategies. So you add a strategy. There's a ton of different ones, right? So many different ones. But you want to choose this ERC 1155 balance of, because that's like ERC 1155. That's what additions are. And so you want to do this. And here's the important part. So a symbol I did as IRL, and basically down here on your NFT in details, you can get the contract address and the token ID. And you'll want to like copy both of those over. So contract address, token ID, and just leave the decimals at 0, and it'll populate correctly as, you know, one NFT per person, which is probably what you want. But you can play around with this if so the decimals are basically like, you know, 0.1 or 10 decimals. So it weights it, so to speak. So like if you wanted to weight where everyone who has one NFT actually has 10 votes or something like this. But yeah, the main thing you need to know is just to grab that address and token ID from the details of this NFT, and then you would add it. I already added it, so I'm not gonna. And then you can add some other, you know, voting periods, you know, validations and stuff. But really, I would just recommend starting off basic. That's where we're at, and just getting it going, and then you can always come in and play with more stuff. And Snapshot's really great. I'll also just show you, you know, let's just look up Snapshot Docs, right? So docs.snapshot. Here's tons of great resources about, you know, setting up different strategies, different plugins, so many different stuff, right? Gnosis Safe, right? So just really going through all of these once you want to dig in a bit more. But I guess I'll also show you one more thing in here in your Gnosis Safe. So, you know, you go to apps and then you go to Snapshot. So you can also just directly interact or launch it from here, which is really cool. So, you know, I go to IRL DAO, oops, and boom, you know, I would still need to log in as the admin, but, you know, anyway, I'm just showing you kind of how you can interact with apps through the Gnosis Safe itself, which is super safe. And really that's about it, I think. So it's not that complicated, and I think with the final gas fee, it was probably a little over $200, which gas is kind of low right now, so might be more at certain points, but $200 is not bad. And then with the NFTs, those are all free, so this is a very, I would still say, pretty affordable way to have, you know, a snapshot set up so you can start doing your governance. You know, it's already been a really helpful tool for us, and just getting consensus. You know, I think in the past I would have just made this decision to do this, and it became evident that not everyone agreed with it. You know, and our next step is really to get the SourceCred going, and I'll just show you Metafactories, because I think it's phenomenal. And what I look at as this is the companion to Snapshot. So basically, I'll show one that I voted in. Here we go. So proposal, and you know, it's a way for people to really communicate about, you know, issues they see or insight or feedback they might have on stuff. But here's the actual proposal, and see, it says official vote on Snapshot, and then boom, here it is where you actually vote. So this is the, you know, this is the forum, right? And so the forum's great in the sense that, you know, you can really flesh things out, talk about it, get people's thoughts, and before putting it up for vote, or as it's being voted on, and maybe the vote doesn't go, you can, you know, the way you want it to, you can explain it here, and people will have an opportunity to change their vote based on, you know, your opinion or however. So anywho, so your official vote on Snapshot, and I'll just go ahead and show you. Let's connect wallet, MetaMask. Yep, so I have 31 robot tokens, and this, you know, I voted approve, and they do it for tokens, so these are ERC20s, so just, you know, tokens versus NFTs. But set up really similarly, where the amount of tokens represents, you know, your weight and vote. I think that's kind of the most straightforward and fair way to do stuff. And yeah, so I love Metafactory. I think they're an incredible example of a creative DAO, and so I've been participating with them for not even a year yet, and it's already just been so empowering, and I've learned so much, and, you know, made a good amount of robot tokens along the way, which I just think is so incredible. You know, I think a lot of times I'm just feel very grateful to essentially be getting paid to learn, as well as participate in ways that really are, you know, meaningful to me, being able to do creative contributions, and, you know, getting to meet all sorts of great people. Everyone in Metafactory is really beautiful brains, and very creative and interesting and open-minded and very non-judgmental, which I think is nice, because, you know, this stuff can be pretty intimidating, and it's nice to be in a safe place where, you know, people, you know, really don't make fun of you for not knowing something or asking questions, but they really, you know, answer your questions and point you in good directions. Like, MetaDreamer's so busy. He's like, you know, one of the kind of founders, I guess you would call him, of Metafactory, and he's taken time off to help me with my Gnosis Safe and get going. And I just think that cross-organizational support is really important. You know, he's not just trying to get us to participate full-time making Metafactory amazing. He really wants to empower us to really learn and utilize these tools in our own way too, and while also contributing to their DAO. So I think it's just really special. So anyway, I always encourage people to check out Metafactory, because they've just really, and so anyway, this is a SourceCred, and this is all open source. So if you go to SourceCred, you know, basically this is the main, you know, way that you can fork it and set up your own off their GitHub. And we haven't done that yet. We still need to figure it out, to be honest. But, you know, that's our next step. And, you know, we've been working towards this for a long time, so don't feel like, you know, you're behind, or, you know, like that this stuff should happen overnight, because it's a work in progress. And, you know, there's a lot of good tools out there. I guess one more cool tool I could show you is Coordinate. So Coordinate I've really been enjoying. Again, it's with Metafactory. So basically we just had this epic, it's kind of a term to describe an amount of time, and basically, you receive these give points that represent, a percentage of the token allotment for that period. So I believe this one was 2,000 robot tokens, and the 50 represented, I'm not sure, I'd have to look, but it represents a certain amount of those tokens. And these are my give points that I received from different people in the Metafactory community that I work alongside. And it's so nice because I think you can really get a sense of how kind everyone is. Not only are they rewarding us for participating, but it's really nice to see their messages, and I really feel like I've just met so many amazing people in the DAO space that I might not have met otherwise. And anywho, so you can look at the map of contributors, which is really fun too. So that's me, and just kind of a cool data map to show people's intersections. And anyway, this is how you would opt in, but the round just closed. So this was for ETH Denver, and it was a way to really and how I could better explain it is that this is basically a way for all contributors to give points out to each other versus one person trying to determine, from a top-down sense, what each person should receive for doing their job. And I think that's just a way more fair way to really capture people's value, because, MetaDreamer might not see all the way over here what Zico's doing, but Wes and Sinkas and Captain Skeletor, they saw it. And so they were able to give him points. And, I think that that's a really neat way to think about distributing value. And what else? Basically, SourceCred can be set up similarly, where you can integrate it with Discord and Telegram and make basically these what's called instances, to where I could pull up on Metafactories, try to scooch this in a little bit, but basically on Metafactories, what you would do to one of the ways to get recognized on the SourceCred distributions is to go to Did a Thing, and then based on so here Jen he's so great, he writes what he's doing, what he's up to, but then also based on how many emojis you get, you're able to basically qualify for different allocations, which I think is great. It's just a more fluid way that's very intuitive, especially to very internet native people, just to pop over here, post up something that you've done, get some emojis, give some emojis, and then that weighs into those distributions. So that's just one example of how you can integrate SourceCred on the back end, but then on the front end, it's also a forum, and you can reward people for participating in the discussion, and it's just great. I think there's a lot of micro things that happen that don't get rewarded in everyday communities. And, ultimately with these tools combined, you can really start tracking your organization's value and distributing it more fairly, so that, ultimately, you're really rewarding people for building, you know, the value that is what the organization is. And so anyway, we haven't gotten that far yet with IRL, but we do have our snapshot up, and we're going to keep working to organize these and, you know, implement these other tools. But there's certainly a lot out there. These are just the main ones that I'm familiar with and can speak to and have really enjoyed. And so, you know, that's what I wanted to focus on, because, you know, there's a lot of tools out there. And, you know, like another one that I guess I will bring up, because we're gonna start using it, is Sobel.io. I think they've started setting it up, but, you know, basically, you know, here's how, you know, Metafactory is starting to really organize their working groups, and, you know, who's who and where people's focus is, and, you know, basically really trying to organize these things better and have visuals. And, you know, I haven't quite figured out exactly, you know, how this works yet, but, you know, this is something we want to use, and it has a great user interface. Being an artist, I love like the visuals of everything. But, you know, so I might do another video on Sobel once I get a little more familiar with that and we implement it more into what we're doing. But basically that's where we're at. And, you know, I encourage people to join our IRL art Discord. It's really great, positive group where, you know, you can, there's about a little over 200 people in here now. And, you know, this is how you apply for our Decentraland proposals. And there's, you know, our announcements, general chat. Resources is a great channel that we, you know, share different funding opportunities, as well as like resource docs we've put together, different grants, all sorts of, you know, here's the original doc I put together. We're always just trying to share resources and just really provide a supportive environment for artists and creatives. You know, we've got a cool show and tell where people share, you know, what they're working on. And also in this proposals channel, people have been, you know, normally what I intended this channel was to basically, you know, put in when we apply for a grant and what, you know, we basically, if it was approved and for how much, kind of give some status updates. But more recently, it's been really cool. People have been asking for feedback on their proposals and, you know, basically asking for connections or ideas of groups to reach out to for sponsors. And, you know, here's somebody else with a pitch deck. Here's somebody else with a opportunity for 3D artists. So all sorts of really great nuggets in here. And, you know, so definitely encourage you to reach out on our Discord. And, you know, we've got our IRL team here. So these are all people that you can reach out to as well. I'm IRL Art, but welcome to reach out to whomever and ask questions. Kenthic's also our moderator, so he's most active in here. But yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching this video and learning a bit about DAOs. And cheers. Oops.